Drones, especially in Asia, are often used for some great aerial light shows. Each drone is like a tiny pixel in the air, creating live movement on a night sky. But sometimes, like this time, it can go wrong and all the synchronization failed. People in this Chinese city were forced to hide because of the drones. The aerial bombing were just coming out of the sky when the flight program was unable to safely put them down, and all the machines tried to land by themselves, hitting people, cars and trees. Wow. Luckily, the Autoland system tries to put the drones back on the ground as delicately as possible. So guys, watch your heads over there. Anyway, in our program, you're absolutely safe here in our temporary studio in Toronto. I'm your host, REGAN TETLOW, and this is the one and only Air Sports News. And if you do like it, please give us a like and a share and subscribe to our channels as well. All right, let's go. So here at the beginning we have some unique photos from a fresh record flight performed in Germany. Last week, Deborah Day and Mike Scholes flew 4 gas balloon flights from Gladbach in Germany with renowned German balloon pilot Willy Elmers. Willy has flown more than 1,400 gas balloon flights and he's won the Coupe Aeronautique Gordon Bennett 4 times. They flew 23 hours and 45 minutes in total. The flights took place in Germany and Belgium, and the longest one was 10 hours long. Substantial parts of the flight were at night in order that they can get their night flying experience. Kevin Stas, the flight director for the Transatlantic Challenge, flew as a passenger with them on 3 of these flights. Debbie and Mike were honoured to have Russian balloon pilot Leonid Tukayev joining them with his friend Ekaterina Ravaneva for the flight to Sanderhorst. Leonid flew across the Pacific with American balloonist and last week's special guest Troy Bradley in January 2015. We also have the latest results from the Great America's Challenge gas balloon race. Only 4 teams were able to participate in this year's event, but emotions were on a very high level. Just before the launch, I spoke with Brenda Cowishaw.
It's 9 a.m. for you Saturday morning now. What time's your launch?
We're supposed to launch at 6 p.m.
Yeah, you've got a busy day ahead. You haven't done your sandbags yet, I take it now?
No, we did. We got them yesterday in between rain showers. So there was some rain that had moved through the city. I guess it was yesterday and the day before as well. So the ground out there was a little bit wet. Fortunately, the sand was covered. So we were able to get our sandbags put together yesterday.
Good. I'm very excited for you. I wish I was there with you guys.
Us too.
Tell me about the predictions, the tracks. It looks a bit...
It looks very wonky. It's going to be very slow. It's not going to be nearly as far of a race as what we've seen in the past, of course, unless somebody gets really, really lucky. But definitely it's going to be a patience game.
Noah Forden and Bert Padelt from Team 4 are the unofficial winners of the 24th America's Challenge distance race for gas balloons. They covered a distance of 356.2 miles, spending 1 day and 12 hours airborne. Team 1, Barbara Frick and Peter Cunha, covered 338.3 miles, and the last place on the podium goes to Team number 2, Sherry White and Mark Sullivan. They've flown 173.2 miles in 23 hours and 46 minutes. And Sherry White from the America's Challenge Teams 2 is my first special guest this week. Let's find out just what was the flight like and were there any chances to overtake the actual winners.
Waking up during the night on that first night and checking the YB races. There wasn't much wind about, was there? Wasn't much happening for you?
No, it was very slow. You could have slept until morning and we would have still been in the same place.
Yeah. It was a cold night as well, eh? Awful.
Awful. Most miserable night. It was really freezing.
Yeah.
We were on oxygen. We were like maybe 16,000. 17,000. And yeah, it was cold. We were trying to do better on this flight and take turns sleeping. But it was just so hard to sleep because it was just so cold. And in fact, my fingertips still, I think, are a little frostbitten. But
Tell me about it then. Tell me about the challenge, the launch. The atmosphere at the launch seemed fantastic. The cheers and everybody whooping and hollering. It feels like a really good, energetic start.
It was, you know, we had a couple hundred balloons starting to glow on the field. So we got some really good shots of the balloons glowing and then the fireworks going off. So it was good.
A lot of people out to see the launch. It was, you know, unlike Gordon Bennett's.
And the full-length interview with Sherry is available right now on our Air Sports Promotion YouTube channel. The 2021-22 Drone Racing League World Championships season kicked off at Alliance Field at last, and we have some top 5 moments from amazing drone racing on Wednesday night. In the largest season yet, the most skilled, practiced and disciplined pilots are aiming to dominate the 14 levels of racing through iconic sports arenas and DRL Sim virtual maps to be crowned the world champion. Everyone can watch the action on Wednesday nights on NBCSN and Twitter at 8 p.m. ET, starting on September the 29th, that's last week, 21. And here you can see some of the best action from the first event in the season, where Heads Up wins the first level race.
Wow! Yes! Alex, we just got first and second! Hold on, let me...
Alright, I think it's Inity Team. They've released an absolutely unbelievable video showing their totally unique world record with combining 2 canopy pilots and 3 wingsuiters in a 2-stack crucifix formation. My second special guest this week is Ewan Cowie, one of the most sought after skydiving videographers and photographers on the planet right now. He was a videographer of many unique skydiving records, such as the 200-way vertical world record in 2018, the 60-way French head-down record in 2017, and he's also many other records, for example, 69-way base jump from 2018. Let's talk a little bit with my good friend and this great athlete.
You've already been experiencing the travel. You've been all over the place these last 12 months.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I have. I've been, the start of this year, I had a 2.5 month trip, basically where I didn't come back to Spain, where I lived for the whole 2.5 months. So I ended up going, using kind of Dubai as a base because that was open when a lot of other places weren't. And we went to Brazil, we went to the Maldives, we went to Namibia, and several times back and forth to Dubai before finally coming back to Spain where I live.
So you're a skydiver, but more importantly, you're a skydiving photographer and videographer. You're capturing imagery. You're working with a team. Tell me a little bit about your teamwork that you do.
Well, I work a lot with Airwax, who are world champions in free fly from 2018. Yeah. And yeah, we basically, I don't compete with them. I'm not the competition videographer that they had. That was Baptiste Welch. But I go and do a lot of events with them all over the world. I go to film in wind tunnels, boogies, special events that we organize ourselves, such as jumping onto Copacabana Beach in Rio. Yeah, and we basically have a lot of fun because we really love each other, and we just go awesome places and do awesome things. So yeah, it's a pretty cool team to be part of.
So just a minute, you've got the best gig here because you get to go to all the nice boogies and events and you don't have to do the competitions. You can't cost them a medal.
Well, exactly. I think when Baptiste decided he didn't want to do any more competition, he'd been competing for many years at that point and he wanted to focus on doing more tunnel, then if Airwax had decided to compete again, I would have been their videographer. But they decided for various reasons. I mean, they've been competing together for 10 years at that point. Yeah. And they finally achieved their goal of becoming world champions. And then I think they wanted to move on to maybe more enjoyable aspects that you hinted of skydiving that you have the opportunity to do when you're world champion.
And you can watch the full-length interview with Ewan, as always, on our Air Sports Promotion YouTube channel. Honda announced on Thursday that it is developing a hybrid electric vertical takeoff and landing aircraft. The aircraft will be aimed at providing city-to-city transport, a market that the company believes will grow significantly in the future. Honda also plans to create a mobility ecosystem that will focus on coordinating and integrating the eVTOL with ground transport. All-electric eVTOL aircraft face a range of issues due to limited battery capacity. Therefore, the realistic use area is limited to inside city transportation. According to Honda, the aircraft will feature a wide range of Honda's core technologies developed in areas including combustion, aerodynamics and control. Planned performance numbers for this design have not yet been announced. It has been reported though that Honda is aiming to be flight testing its eVTOL in 2025 with a certification target of 2030. Now some news for all you millionaires watching out there. During the October the 4th ceremony at its Savannah, Georgia headquarters, Gulfstream Aerospace announced 2 new additions to its family of large cabin jets, the G800 and the G400. Works continues on testing its largest aircraft, the G700, which is slated to enter service later next year. The G800, which will ultimately replace the G650 as the airframer's long-range jet, stretches its predecessors as well as the G700's range by 500 nautical miles to 8,000 nautical miles. It retains the fuselage dimensions of the G650 line, which, while receiving a host of upgrades from the G700, including the Symmetry touchscreen flight deck with active control side sticks, interior elements, wing and Rolls-Royce Pearl 700 engines. The price of this beauty? Just $34.5 million. I'll have to ask Lisa what she's got left in the joint account, see if we can get one. Broad Peak is a mountain in the Karakoram on the border of Pakistan and China. It's the 20th highest mountain in the world at 8,047 metres above sea level. It was first ascended in June 1957 by an Austrian expedition, but just a few days ago, the paraglider pilot Antoine Girard made a high altitude flight there with a lack of oxygen and heavy winds. Check this out. The European and Japanese Bepi Colombo spacecraft made the closest ever measurements of the magnetic field of Mercury above the planet's southern hemisphere as it zoomed past, snapping epic selfies along the way. During the flyby, 3 monitoring cameras on the spacecraft's transfer module photographed the planet, with the results released as a short video on Monday, the October the 4th. This sequence of 53 images taken from a distance of 620 to 58,000 miles represents Bepi Colombo's first glimpse of its target planet. The flyby was designed to slow down Bepi Colombo on its orbit around the Sun using Mercury's gravity. 5 more such flybys will be necessary before the spacecraft can finally enter orbit around the planet in 2025. Great news, and it should be put in our Hall of Fame for next year for sure. Let's try and remember about that. But now let's find out who's on the list this week. From the 3rd to the 5th of October 1931, Clyde Edward Pangborn and Hugh Herndon Jr. flew their Balancer skyrocket, and it took off from Sabarishko Beach on the northern coast of the island of Honshu in Japan. Their destination was Seattle, Washington, 5,500 miles across the North Pacific Ocean. These 2 pilots had been on an around-the-world flight, attempting to better the time recently set by Willie Post and Harold Gatty. The flight was sponsored by Herndon and his mother, Alice Carter Herndon, heiress to the Tide Water Oil Company. On the 5th of October 1907, the British Army Dirigible No. 1, flown by Colonel John Capper and Samuel Frederick Cody, made a flight from the balloon factory at Farnborough to London after circling St Paul's Cathedral. The crew attempted to return to Farnborough, but unfavourable winds forced them to moor the airship at the Crystal Palace. The flight covered a distance of 40 miles and took 3 hours 25 minutes. This airship was 120 feet in length with a diameter of 26 feet. The envelope was constructed of 15 layers of gold beater's skin and was filled with hydrogen. On the 4th of October 1957, the world's first artificial satellite, Sputnik 1, was launched from the Baikonur Cosmodrome aboard a two-stage Sputnik rocket, a variant of the R-7 ballistic missile. The satellite entered an elliptical orbit circling Earth every 96.2 minutes. The satellite then entered an elliptical orbit with a perigee of 215 kilometers and apogee of 939 kilometers. The duration of each orbit was 1 hour, 36 minutes and 12 seconds. On the 3rd of October 1953, James Verdin flew the second prototype of the Douglas Skyray over a 3-kilometer course at the Salton Sea, California. Flying at approximately 150 feet, Verdin made 4 passes with 2 in each direction. He set a new FAI world record for speed over a 3-kilometer course, averaging 1,211 kilometers per hour. So for the end of our show this week, once again I want to leave you with some amazing pictures from Jarno Cordia's team currently in Egypt. A few weeks ago we showed you an amazing skydiving flyby over the Egyptian flag, and now we have much more content from Jarno. So we'll see you back here again next week here in our studio in Toronto. And if you do like the show, we appreciate a like, and we do love a share. But until then, stay safe and keep your eyes on the skies.